All right, I'll just start over. Today's class we're going to be discussing how aspects are interpreted, not just how they represent conflicts or problems in a person's life in terms of just it's a square aspect, therefore they're going to have conflict. Generally that's the way people do aspects. They just see them as stress aspects and then they don't really understand what the meaning of them is. The problem is that each planet has its own need of expression. And in the case of the sun, it needs to be praised. It needs to be recognized. It needs to be seen as, if you would, the king. That this is where I shine the most. Even a negative aspect can be interpreted as that need, and I'll explain that as we go along. So we're going to go through these aspects a little bit and understand them. So let me get, I wonder if these glasses might help. Okay. And so, the basic thing when we talk about translating aspects, is the real ability to interpret a chart is your ability to see these dynamic aspects. If you don't understand them, and if you don't work with a client to understand them, you're kind of doing a disservice to them. You're not going to be a good astrologer. So I'm going to just give you some idea. The sun-moon aspects are significant, and they indicate our connection between the conscious mind and the subconscious. The contest between will, which is the sun, and moon, the emotions. Okay, the struggle between habits, which is the moon, and the will, which is the sun. The stress aspects make this more of a challenge than the benefic aspects, but these two energies represent feelings pitted with or against the desires of the heart, which is the sun. So you can imagine if you have an affliction, you're born under a full moon or you're born on a first quarter moon. If you've got a square to the sun and moon, that means your entire life you're set up to have a struggle between that will, your will and your emotions. It's going to go on all your life. The sun says, for example, I'll diet. The moon says, I feel like eating that dessert. Feelings will often win out over the will, almost always. And unless you really have a strong will and a strong chart that shows that. Our sun is, Elena's got that, very strong-willed, very good discipline, which something I don't. I have Grand Cross with my moon. My moon's on a Grand Cross, and one of the planets on it is Venus. The other is Jupiter. Both are extremes. One's sweets, Venus, right? It loves sweets. And then Jupiter, which is, I'll be fine. I'm optimistic. See, it's okay. Don't tell me what to do. If Saturn was there, I might have more discipline, maybe. Okay. Remember, with a wide orb of the sun and moon, it's likely to be some aspect between them. Also remember that the moon is pure receptivity, and therefore not likely to impart much to the sun. Think of this. The moon is the subconscious soul. It's always receiving. The sun is projective, masculine, aggressive. It's out there. So the moon is colored by what it gets. It's more shaped by the energies that aspect it. And don't start giving a lot of meaning to the moon as in terms of an aspect as influencing the planet that it's aspecting. It's the other way around. Okay? So, Mercury and the sun aspects. Mercury travels with the sun and is almost always conjunct with the sun. It never actually gets over 28 degrees away from it. It's the messenger of the gods and stays next to the home or the throne, the sun, as mind, Mercury, and spirit, sun are indelibly linked. How do you separate mind and spirit? I mean, they're basically related. Only a conjunction or a semi-sextile aspect is possible with the sun and Mercury, because it never goes over 28 degrees. Semi-sextile is 30 degrees, so that's the most it can do. Okay. It's interesting, Mercury travels with the sun continually, befits the merging of mind, Mercury, and spirit, sun in an individual. Your self-identity is closely related to your mental expression and activities. The ability to self-reflect and use the mind to integrate one's sense of being and becoming is an essential aspect of our sense of identity. Will, purpose, and illumination